SaveWithConrad.com.
Eric Ward in Franklin, Tennessee. I first heard about Save with Conrad through a couple wrestling broadcasts I listened to. 83 Weeks and What Happened When with Tony Schiavone, and I decided to reach out, and I'm so glad that I did. It was an absolute fabulous process. I was in a transition mode, recently sold a home, and I was looking for a mortgage on a new home purchase. And Diana and the team at Supreme Lending was there to help me out. They were absolutely fabulous to work with. They were knowledgeable, responsive, and made the process incredibly smooth. And I'll tell you this, the online portal was an absolute game changer. It provided regular updates at every step, giving me full visibility into where we were at in the process. And on closing day, everything moved so fast that even my real estate agent was shocked. I'm telling you, I couldn't have been happier with the experience and would highly recommend Save with Conrad to anyone looking for a seamless mortgage process. I'm Eric Ward from Franklin, Tennessee, and I got into my dream home with SaveWithConrad.com.
NMLS number 2129, Equal Housing Lender.
SaveWithConrad.com.
Welcome to Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard. Well, you know,
That's not a rib. She pooted.
What a rib.
No, yeah, there's no box of gimmicks.
Rumor and innuendo.
I don't deal in rumor and innuendo. And was he there? I was there. I don't give a shit. I ain't scared of shit.
I ain't scared of shit.
Fuck him.
You, Bruce.
I love you.
Double cheeseburger, double cheese, double mayo, double onion, motherfucker.
Bruce Prichard. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard. And today we're talking about the 1988 Survivor Series. That's right, all the way back in 1988, where teams of five strive to survive. The Junkyard Dog, the Baron, and Don Muraco are out, and Scott Casey and Jim Brunzell are in. Bruce discusses the Bulldogs' departure. That's right, the British Bulldogs are finishing up. Of course, the way Arn and Tully reacted to their first WWF Pay Per View, whether or not Savage had an issue with Hogan coming out last, and so much more. Plus, we discuss Vince's foray into promoting boxing pay-per-views, what Vince did for the guys on Thanksgiving, why Richfield, Ohio got so many big shows, and so much more on a very special edition of Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard. And in case you're wondering, yes, we have located Bruce. He's been out of pocket, but he is back, and we are going to be back with brand new content next week here on the program. But at least for now, man, let's get ready for Survivor Series. Don't you always think of Survivor Series when it gets to November? I don't know why, but I think of Survivor Series and Starrcade and Thanksgiving all in November. Maybe Alabama Auburn too. What wrestling show do you think about when you think about November? I think it's probably Survivor Series for most of us. I damn sure don't think about World War III. And if I'm honest, I don't think about November to Remember from ECW anymore. What wrestling show do you think about in November? Let us know in the comments below, and stay tuned. Something to Wrestle, 1988. Man, it's like chicken soup for the soul. Start talking about some old school wrestling from the 80s that we all grew up on. Yeah, 88 Survivor Series. I'm going to go watch that one again. But first, let's listen to Bruce chop it up about an OG Survivor Series way back when in 1988. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard on a very special Thanksgiving edition. What's going on, Bruce? How are you? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just wishing everybody a happy Thanksgiving. That was I speak gobbledygook, you know.
Oh, I see. Well, I wish you didn't. All right, Bruce, let's talk about why we're really here, man. We're here to watch Survivor Series 1988. Of course, we very recently covered 1998, but today we're going to do something a little different. It's our Thanksgiving tradition, which was the original tradition for Survivor Series way back when. We're going to go ahead and do a watch along. This should be fun.
Okay.
All right. Well, give us a countdown. I really appreciate all your enthusiasm for the show.
You betcha.
November 24th, 1988, we're going to get in our Wayback Machine. Hopefully you're full of turkey and tryptophan and you're about to fall asleep anyway, because I know I'm going to during this 42-minute, 20-man tag. Bruce, give us a countdown, and hopefully at home you've got the WWE Network pulled up and you're queued up and ready to go. You're going to let the disclaimer play, and you're going to be on pause waiting on us, and Bruce will count us down, and here we go.
All right, guys. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start.
Welcome to Richfield, Ohio, the Richfield Coliseum for Survivor Series.
I love the old wide shot and then panning down to the two announcers. How about Jesse dressed up like a fucking pilgrim here? This is good stuff.
That's Jesse's everyday wear there. And the crazy thing about it, I'd like to say something about Gorilla Monsoon's blue glasses. I read something somewhere about how he always wore sunglasses inside. Those were prescription glasses that he had to have a tint because of his eyes. So cut Gorilla a break when you're giving him that shit. But he was always a styling son of a bitch. He had the blue glasses, the red glasses, the gold glasses. It works.
And why did he have to have a tint?
It was something to do with his eyes. He just needed some shading.
So check out what's going on in the ring right here. This is our opening contest. The Ultimate Warrior's in the ring. Oh, there he is. Brutus, the fucking barber beefcake. Looks like he put his finger in a light socket. Over in the far corner, check him out. It's the Blue Blazer himself. I think a lot of people probably forgot that Blazer and Warrior and Brutus. And how about this motherfucker? Sam Houston, all on the same team.
And Jumpin' Jim Brunzell, by God.
Nah. I don't know why we're excited about him.
I like Jim.
Yeah. You were the guy.
Nah, Jim was great. Yeah, there's Ultimate Warrior doing what he does best, shaking ropes and spewing Warrior idiotisms.
No, Warrior was the man here. Don't lie.
No, he wasn't.
He's the Intercontinental Champion. He just beat the Honky Tonk Man at SummerSlam.
Oh, hell. Well, damn, I stand corrected then. There's a Honky Tonk Man, greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. He is a Honky Tonk Man. And Jimmy Hart, of course, famous from the world famous Jimmy Hart Tiki Bar in beautiful Daytona Beach, Florida. They got beer and cans and everything there. Dangerous Danny Davis, Greg the Hammer Valentine, and the Outlaw Ron Bass coming up the rear. By God, the one and only Bad News Brown.
Bad News Brown coming up the rear.
Well, you know, somebody's got to be last. Look at the collection of. Now here's the great part about it. On the heel side, the exception maybe of Danny Davis, every one of those guys, top main event guys. Yep. On the other side, you've got Warrior, main event guy, Beefcake, main event guy, and they're partners.
You thought Outlaw Ron Bass and Greg Valentine were main event guys for the WWF here?
They had been. I mean, at this point, no, but Greg Valentine had been a main event guy in basically his whole career, and Ron Bass everywhere that he went. He was over in Florida, motherfucker.
You know, I've never heard anybody say that Greg Valentine was a main eventer his entire life. So I'm learning things today.
He was.
I believe
so was Beefcake.
I believe you.
By God. Nice yellow boots and versus pink tights. You got to love the color here. This was during a time that I remember Vince would have on the run sheets, no matching tights, and nobody that I can think of on the babyface side ever had black tights. Babyfaces had to have color. You got to pop.
Well, why no matching tights?
Well, because when you're calling a match and you're calling someone, and if they were both wearing white striped tights, and you can't identify them by their trunk color. And so that was to be able to tell people, okay, well, to differentiate between the two guys in the ring, if you don't know who they are, then you can do trunk color.
Recently, this happens every now and again. Notes from Vince will leak out like to the commentators, what he wants them to say or not say. And You know, you're not going to a hospital, you're going to a medical facility, blah, blah, blah. One of the things I saw was, don't say I or me.
Correct.
Talk me through that.
No one gives a fuck what you think or what you did or what I did. He wants them to talk about the talent in the ring by name.
Greg the Hammer Valentine. Oh my, the Hammer now going to work on Beefcake's legs.
He's not going to work on his legs. He's going to work on Beefcake's legs.
All right, I get that, but you know, why would it be? I think he got him. You can't say that.
No.
He got him.
No, he didn't.
Pronouns, pal. Blazer got Valentine. Now Valentine, top hammer. Oh my goodness. Look at the agility of this guy. What high flying skills of the Blue Blazer. Still in control with the hammer. Boy, you're going to see a lot out of this one, Jesse.
Yeah, it's very specific. But the thing about it is once you get used to it, it's just simple not to fall into it anymore. Every once in a while you do.
You know what's interesting to me though is what you just said when you said he got him. No, he didn't. You know, that was like the old Vince McMahonism. And we've joked about pronouns, pal, but he himself would yell, he got him.
Every once in a while, yeah.
Yeah.
And rather than even, it would just be the generic as,
oh, look at that. Oh my. He's got, no. Bad News Brown.
And he would go through the whole thing without calling one move. Certainly weren't going to call a hold. That's for damn sure. And it would just be right there for that end for that. Oh no. Bad News in control. So.
Hey, what's your favorite Jim Brunzell match?
Oh my God, there's so many.
Well, just give me one.
Bobby Heenan.
All right.
Absolutely, man. He and Bobby Heenan had some great matches. Brunzell was the man, dude. And Jim, here's where Jim Brunzell got the bad rap for. I don't even know if it's a bad rap. It just kind of got a rap for being Greg Gagne's partner. And Greg Gagne got a bad rap for the push he got because he was the promoter's son. Greg Gagne was a great worker. I mean, he could go. He was just a lot smaller than everybody else. And Vern pushed him. And then they put him with Brunzell as the tag team partner. And they painted Brunzell with that same brush. But Jim could go. Jim had a nice run in the Carolinas as well as a single competitor.
Bad News Brown working him over in the corner. Outlaw Ron Bass, a guy we haven't talked about a lot here on the show, just a little bit here and there. I think most people remember him most for the angle he did with Brutus Beefcake. You got any good Outlaw Ron Bass stories you can share with us?
Ron Bass was just that straight shooting, old time, and I believe he was a cowboy. You know, he had a spot there in Florida. He had some horses on there, some cows, and he liked the cowboy. He being Ron Bass, and he was the real deal. So just a double tough son of a gun, but he was a journeyman, kept to himself, liked to sit in the corner with Andre and play cribbage, and nicest guy in the world, man. Just super nice guy. And then, of course, Sam Houston, the son of Grizzly Smith, brother of Rockin' Robin and Aurelian Smith Jr., otherwise known as Jake the Snake Roberts. And he's getting his ass whooped by Bad News Brown. What? I thought he had him that time.
Tell us what you're doing for the company at this point here in November of 1988.
Producing the television shows, producing the syndicated television shows, Superstars and Wrestling Challenge that people would see on Saturday and Sunday mornings all around the country. I would put those together. I'd work with them after they were shot. produce all the voiceovers for those and make sure they got out where they needed to go. I was also, at this time, I was doing Brother Love, and I think I was still producing Primetime during this run here. I don't think I stopped producing Primetime till after Jesse left.
What, you're living in Connecticut at this point?
Living in Stamford, Connecticut, right across from Mr. Donut and John's Pizza on right at the point. Anybody that knows downtown Stamford knows that little point there where Mr. Donut and John's Pizza comes together. I lived right across the street there. So I'm doing all of the production during the pay-per-views. This time I was probably running Gorilla. So I was the one doing the timing, and whenever it was a pay-per-view, I would also, pay-per-views were the only time that we quote had run sheets and scripts, if you will, where we had everything laid out and typed out in advance.
Bad news, taking a hike here. Talk me through the way these matches would be booked, where you've got this many guys and, you know, obviously they've got some sort of an idea on time, but this is before IFBs, right? I don't think the referees are wearing earpieces.
No, they're not. They have a timekeeper at ringside that's getting times, and they look, that's all they had was the timekeeper, and you had a referee on the outside. So the referee on the outside could actually walk over, get the time, and let everybody know without that delay of any kind. So it was pretty easy at that point, but there were rules. There were no saves in a lot of these early matches, which is, you know, you're in a tag team match, and the first thing that most guys do on a cover is they want to come in for the save.
Sure.
And so we had a rule, no saves. I think we had that by the Survivor Series. Yeah. So the baby faces didn't come in, but it was to try and keep the matches clean and not a hodgepodge, because otherwise every friggin' finish is going to be a save, and it's just going to be the same shit over and over and over again. Still going to be the same shit over and over and over again, because you got teams of 5 strive to survive. Ron Bass is just whipping the crap out of Sam Houston right now. That's cowboy on cowboy violence.
So, you know, the only thing that's probably discussed in the back at this point in 88 is who's beating who and in what order.
That's it.
You guys don't really care about finishes for a match like this, right? I mean, maybe the last one, but
we probably went over the finishes. Yeah. Just to protect certain guys and know what they were doing so that nothing was being repeated. But it wasn't all this stuff, man. We left the matches up to the guys to go out and perform and do what they needed to do to hold the audience. But they had the finishes, and that was about it. We would watch, we would watch, figure out what the hell they were going to do, just like everybody else.
What did Valentine and Hawkey think of Ultimate Warrior?
Couldn't stand him. Especially Honky, and Honky had to work a program with him, and Honky did as little as he possibly could because it just hurt. You could work an hour with Hogan and come out.
Working an hour.
Well, I mean, you could be great. You could work 30 seconds with Warrior and be banged up for the rest of your life.
Which
Hogan used to work hours. Oh my. Now, the Blazer, coming in had high hopes, Owen Hart, but Vince didn't want to bring him in just as Owen Hart really felt that this Blue Blazer gimmick was going to be his Mighty Mouse during this time. Even back then, Vince wanted his Mighty Mouse.
Was that his favorite cartoon as a kid? Not being funny?
Had to be.
I mean, cause we hear about it all the time.
I know. And that is the comparison that he uses so much, that I just think he had to have loved Mighty Mouse growing up. It's the only thing that makes sense.
Man, as guys, when we find something we like, we stick with it. That's why I recommend that you check out True Classics. You're going to absolutely love it. You're going to love the perfect fit. That's what guys really want. We want things that fit us good and that makes us feel good. And we also want to get a good deal. And I don't want to have to think about it too much. That's why I love True Classic. You can get some of their best-selling t-shirts, hoodies, and jeans and more, all in a 3-pack, a 6-pack, even a 9-pack. We're talking truly premium products at an affordable price. But what guys are all about is we want stuff that fits us nice, because when something fits us nice, it feels more comfortable and we feel better about ourselves. And it's just, I don't know, it puts us in a mood. You know what I'm talking about. I know that sounds silly, but you've got a favorite shirt and you just feel better when you wear it, don't you? You're going to find a lot of your new favorite shirts at True Classic. And here's what I like about that. Usually when we have a favorite shirt, well, we just have one of them. What if you could just hook up a whole new wardrobe with clothes that fit you perfectly? And once you find the right fit, we're going to get this exact same shirt in multiple colors. I'm going to get a 3-pack, a 6-pack, a 9-pack. These are going to become staples. You're not going to have to think about it anymore. That's what I really like about True Classic. When you talk about the perfect fit, I like snug in the arms and chest, just enough of the right amount of room in the midsection. And this time of year, man, they can really hook you up on things like the long sleeve Henley or waffle hoodies. They've got jeans and button-ups, joggers, and more. That's great this time of year where it's cool in the morning, but then it warms up in the afternoon. Hey, they've even got active wear. It's moisture wicking. It's quick dry. It's even got odor control. What I really like about True Classic, though, is you can dress it up or dress it down. You can wear this out on a date. You can wear this to work. You can wear it around the house just when you're doing your honey-do list. This is perfect for our lifestyle, and they put their money where their mouth is with True Classic. They have a 100% perfect fit guarantee, and they've got easy returns. They've been trusted by more than 4 million customers, and they've got over 200,000 reviews. True Classics, ultra comfortable, perfect fitting essentials make for the perfect gift for the men in your life. The holidays are here. Let's hook it up. What are you waiting for? Go right now to trueclassic.com/STW. I want to remind you, with the holidays here, True Classics ultra comfortable, perfect fitting essentials make for the perfect gift for you and the men in your life. So if you're ready to upgrade your closet, shop now and unlock big savings during their huge holiday sale. Just go to our exclusive link at trueclassic.com/STW to save. That's trueclassic.com/STW. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. And end the year with holiday cheer, thanks to True Classic.
And you forget, because you go back and look at, I guess, people that they think of what the last thing they saw. But God, Greg Valentine was a working son of a bitch, man. And a mean one, but he could bump and he could go. And now he's using that illegal shin guard. Put that figure 4 on Owen Hart. Notice he turns it around illegally. I don't know what's illegal about it, but tell you what happened with you see the shin guard Valentine has?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he started wearing it, and it was like a soccer shin guard or a motorcycle type shin guard. It would right up right underneath his kneecap. And Greg comes in one day and says, "Yeah, man, I got a problem. I'm not going to be able to do this gimmick anymore." I was like, "Well, what's the problem? I mean, why can't you do the gimmick?" Showed us his knee, and his knee was about 3 times its normal size. And what had happened is, because of the way that he was wearing the shin guard, it was pushing up on the knee and just moved everything.
Oh.
So it was ugly. It was bad. So Greg lost the shin guard after that and went back to just being, "I broke Wahoo's leg."
So we see camera guys here roaming around in like the jumpsuits, almost like you would wear a coverall if you were a professional painter or something. Why was that the look of the day, and why did you guys move away from it?
Well, it was to let them blend in so that they wouldn't stand out. If you got a bunch of guys that are all around the ring, some guys are wearing shorts and some, and a Bart Simpson t-shirt, other guys wearing other shit. It was a uniform, and it was a way to just kind of make them indiscreet, let them blend into the crowd a lot better, and you don't see them as much. We never liked to see our cameramen. We tried to be very conscious about handheld cameras shooting other handheld cameras, and just were very, very conscious as far as the direction of the cameras. So we wanted them to blend in and not be seen.
So the Torch would have Wade Keller review this match, and he says, overall, it was a really good match, but having the Blazer submit is beyond logic in my book. They didn't have to bury him like they did. The match lasted 20 minutes. What are you thinking of this match so far?
I mean, the match is good. It's just a lot of it. And that's what we found out, especially after this pay-per-view, after this Survivor Series. The first one you do, it's woohoo, wow, that was great, man. Wasn't that cool? It was different. It was fun. And then you get to the second one and you realize, all right, we've set up this concept and we've got to repeat it. It just was a lot of repetition and a lot of sameness, even though we went to great lengths not to have the matches and the moves and the finishes be repetitious. It's just tough to do when you're going to have in the period of one night, in this match, you're going to have 5 finishes. You got all these guys coming in, Ron Bass and Greg now working on the Warrior. Referee Earl Hebner doing his job, but man, it's double team. Valentine trying to keep Warrior down, and Warrior just won't have it because he doesn't know how to sell. Shoot off into the ropes, double kick down below. Oh my, now he did. Now Bass, look at him, hammering on the Warrior. Oh my, those big blows all the way deep down from Texas. That's right. Yeah.
How would you describe the Warriors' look here?
Like the Warrior? Shit, I don't know. He's a warrior. It's the way he always looked. Colorful. How would you describe it?
Native American gimmick.
I don't see that at all.
I mean, I think Ric Flair was a Native American gimmick.
Why is that?
Well, he called himself the Nature Boy. He would chop people. He would go woo, 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 and then do a little dance.
Huh. You know what? Maybe it was. And he always had feathers on his robes. Yeah. Had feathers on his robes too.
Oh, he did have feathers on his robes. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. That could be.
I mean, he hung out with Wahoo a lot.
Yes.
A lot.
Yeah. And Wahoo may have been the greatest Native American athlete in general ever.
No, I mean, that's definitely Ultimate Warrior. And there he is. Ultimate Warrior getting the hand raised
with yellow eyebrows.
Place is going banana.
Dun, 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 dun. I am. Yeah.
By the way,
I am an idiot.
Of all the Native American gimmicks you worked with in the WWF, which did you prefer, Tatanka or the Ultimate Warrior?
Well, Ultimate Warrior's not a Native American gimmick.
Definitely is. Talks to his hands about the gods and.
No. Not seeing it, not buying it. You're selling it, but I ain't buying it.
Hang on. What was the difference between him and Tatanka? I'm asking a real question.
Tatanka was a Lumbee Indian.
Oh, so you have to be Indian in order to do an Indian gimmick?
Yes, like Chief Jay Strongbow or Billy White Wolf.
I didn't realize. So is the Undertaker? I mean, he had to be dead.
Yes.
Yeah. I understand.
Okay.
So, I mean, hypothetically, if the Ultimate Warrior went, yeah. It's not
If he was a Lumbee Indian, maybe.
Did you ever see any of the interviews at the Ultimate Warrior's house with all the, his entire house is decorated in Indian stuff?
Okay.
I was just mentioning that. Just wanted you to know.
Okay. I've never been to his house, so.
But you watch the WWE Network for only $9.99 a month, right?
I do, but I don't watch Ultimate Warrior stuff.
Well, I'm excited about this one. Are you ready?
Yes,
for this?
you are.
We're running through the 10 tag teams that are in this next match. You heard me. There are 10 tag teams in this next match. 10.
Teams of 5 strive to survive. Is it 10 or 8?
I think it's 10 folks. I mean, 10 teams, you know, so you got 10 on each side. Cause I think what they did is they showed like a captain team. And then that graphic had the other 4. Now here comes Demolition. My favorite tag team as a kid, and it wasn't close. I was a fan of Demolition and the Steiner brothers. How weird was I?
Why would that be weird?
I don't know.
2 great tag teams.
Most of my friends are like, I like the Rock and Roll Express, or I like the Midnight Express, or I like the Road Warriors, or I like the Hart Foundation. I'm like, nah, Demolition and the Steiners, man. And then 2 other teams that I don't give a shit about. The Conquistadors and the Bolsheviks. All right, folks, we're going to have you tune in to 2348. Bruce is old and, hit a button. So now we're back at you 23 minutes, 48 seconds, and we're going to press play in 3, 2, 1, play. So there you go. The real tag team, the Brainbusters coming in, and Fabulous Rougeaus. Let me just tell you, it just dawned on me in the last year that the little baby American flags were a rib, like a way to get heat.
Yeah, it was a way to get heat.
It never even computed to me.
Heat seekers. We're real American boys.
But with
real
tiny
American
flags.
boys.
We're so patriotic with our baby flags.
Yes.
It's great.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
It was lost on me as a kid.
Oh, you just thought, did you think that they were real Americans?
No, I knew they were assholes, but I didn't know that the baby flag was a way to cement them as assholes. By the way, can you imagine going through real life with haircuts like these?
Nice. Well, Warlord at least colored his so that it didn't stand out as much.
Here comes Paul Roma, one of the more underrated performers.
And Jim Powers.
Nah, nobody likes Jim Powers.
Everybody loves Jim.
And there he is, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, with Jim Neidhart. And wouldn't you know it, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty on the same tag team. And here come the British Bulldogs. Man, look at the Hall of Fame level talent in the ring here.
And it's just a crowded ring of people. And now what's going to make it even worse is we're going to just stick them all on the outside so that you can't see in with your hard camera shot.
It's unbelievable. The Demolition, Arn and Tully, the Rockers, the Hart Foundation, the Bulldogs. Are you kidding?
Powers Payne.
Shut up.
What? The Rougeaus.
No.
Hey, and the Rougeaus were one of the best tag teams ever. You got to admit that.
No, I don't have to admit that. I'm not going to admit that.
You got to admit that.
I don't have to admit that.
You do.
Look at this collection of heel managers. Jimmy Hart, Mr. Fuji, and Bobby the Brain.
Yeah, one of them's got a tiki. Well, no, I won't say the rest of it.
What?
It's sad. No, I just was looking and it was sad because Bobby and Fuji are no longer with us.
Yeah.
Now Tully Blanchard and who is that? Marty Jannetty the matches between the Brain Busters and the Rockers, the Brain Busters and Demolition, some of the best damn matches you ever want to see.
How fucking underrated was Tully Blanchard?
Very much so. You know why? Because Tully was such an asshole. And I saw Tully a year ago at WrestleCade, and he was nice as could be. And that was nice to see. And we had a really nice chat. But, man, I think Tully Blanchard in the ring, very, very few people could touch him. And he was able to use his heat-seeking personality in real life to transform that into the ring and put butts in seats.
Really?
Yes. Tully's hell of a talent. Tully was a hell of a talent. Now you got the Bulldog in there with Jacques Rougeau, who had knocked his teeth out not too far before this. This, I believe, was the Bulldog's last match in the WWF.
All right, folks, I can't wait to tell you about my wife's new obsession. It's Lumen. Lumen is the world's first handheld metabolic coach. It's a device that measures your metabolism through your breath. And on the app, you know if you're burning fat or carbs. Then it gives you tailored guidance to improve your nutrition, your workouts, your sleep, and even your stress management. All you got to do is breathe into Lumen first thing in the morning, and you'll know what's going on with your metabolism. Meaning, are you burning mostly fats or carbs? And then Lumen gives you a personalized nutrition plan based on that day's immediate measurements. Real time, folks. You just breathe into a Lumen, and then it gives you the information you need. You do this before or after your workouts and your meals, so you know exactly what's going on with your body in real time. And here's why your metabolic health matters. Think of your metabolism as like your body's engine. It's how your body turns the food you eat into the fuel that keeps you going. And because your metabolism is at the center of everything your body does, optimal metabolic health translates to a whole bunch of benefits, including easier weight management, improved energy levels, better fitness results, better sleep. Lumen gives you recommendations to improve your metabolic health with each breath. And my wife uses this pre and post workout. She wants to make sure that she's got the best possible fuel for the best possible performance and recovery. And I know you're going to love it too. Megan has actually seen a doctor friend of hers lose over 45 pounds using a Lumen. And we've even heard of friends of ours who were doing 18-hour fasts that once they started using a Lumen, they realized they needed to cut that fast off before hour 12 because hours 13 on in were actually undoing the great they had done. Everybody is different and everyone's metabolism is different. This gives you unique insights at a level that my wife never thought was possible. Think of this as like a cheat code. So if you want to take the next step in improving your health, go right now to lumen.me/wrestle to get 15% off your Lumen. That's LUMEN.me/wrestle for 15% off your purchase. Thank you, Lumen, for sponsoring today's episode. I wanted to mention, this is 13,500 fans on hand here in Richfield, Ohio. And the show does a 2.82 buy rate. What do you remember the expectations for a show like this being? You know, this is really only the second one. It is a relatively new concept for you guys. Pay-per-view is still very much in its infancy and you're running it on Thanksgiving night. Chat me up.
You really had no expectations as far as numbers because so much of that was new. We were all about dollars and cents. However, in 1988, you have to understand there still was not a large pay-per-view universe. It was out there and it was more than there was in 1987. But by 1988, you know, you still have companies coming on and still are not able to deliver the pay-per-views. And people still had to go to closed circuit or wait for the videotape to come out. So it was a universe that was growing every week. You obviously thought that you're going to do more because every single time you did a pay-per-view, now we were at 3. WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series, that you figured it was going to be more just because there were more addressable homes each time you did it.
Some of these guys are old school wrestling guys, and wrestling on Thanksgiving night in different parts of the country had some traditions and some, I guess, weren't running, but historically this is one of the biggest weekends for wrestling of the year, right?
Everywhere except New York. In the New York territory, they never ran Thanksgiving or Christmas. And traditionally, as you just said, everywhere else in the country, Thanksgiving night, Christmas Day, the only one you didn't run was Christmas Eve. New Year's Eve, but Christmas night and Thanksgiving night, huge business. Those were the big weekends for almost every other territory in the country.
Why do you think New York just stayed away from the concept when everybody else was doing it?
I think because of family, and there was a feeling that people, especially in New York, that's where they were based. So the family gets together and they stay together all night long and all day long. Vince didn't feel that people would want to leave their homes to go out and do something else and go pay and go see a live event. And obviously there were live events then, but when pay-per-view came along, and Vince, here's the other thing, Vince's favorite holiday?
Thanksgiving.
So he liked to stay at home. He liked to have his Thanksgiving at home and be there with the family and chill out. So it was something that he didn't want to be out working, which is funny now when you think about it, because if there's an opportunity to work, he's working.
Bret Hart working over at Demolition Axe. Axe is balding a little bit in the back. You've talked a lot about the lengths that you guys would go to make Hogan look less bald. Was there ever any concern about any other balding Axe?
Well, he was a heel, so fuck it. We don't care if he's bald. Heels can have bald spots.
No, I think once Vince realized how much it cost and how much time and effort it took, and the best thing was that Saturday night's main event with Hulk, and me telling Vince, I said, well, Vince, we're still editing the goddamn match because we can't show Hulk bald. What do you mean? And bring it over to him, and he looks at me and goes, he looks like a drenched rat. He is fucking bald. And we didn't have to worry about covering up his top of his head anymore.
You mentioned earlier that you thought this was the Bulldogs' last match in the WWE. It is indeed their last pay-per-view. And a lot of that we've talked about on the show here before because of the whole situation with the Rougeaus. Did you guys have an idea at this point? Hey man, this is coming to a head.
Well, we knew they were done at this point. I mean, they had already given their notice and they were gone. So, it was foregone conclusion. So it was, they were fulfilling their dates and they were working through to leave. They wanted to go back to Japan, and they were working for Calgary for Stu. And we knew, I think that a part of them felt, what are we going to do with the Powers of Pain here? What are we going to do with all these guys? They wanted out. They'd been there a long time, and it was time for a change. And do you know which conquistador that is right there?
That's either one or two.
That is numero uno.
And who was portraying numero uno here?
That would be Johnny Rods.
And who is number two here?
Jose Luis Rivera.
Johnny Rods is a guy we haven't talked about a lot here, but WWE Hall of Famer.
He is. You know, Johnny Rods was one of those unsung heroes that whenever you would come in, an outsider, for example, Gino Hernandez, when Gino came in first time in Madison Square Garden, the guy you had to work with was Johnny Rods. Kevin Von Erich, first time Madison Square Garden, guy you got to work with, Johnny Rods. Whenever the old man would bring in these outside big name talents, he would usually put them in the ring with a guy like Johnny Rods to give them a good match and give them the spotlight. They get a win, and the New York crowd is happy because they beat the proverbial bad guy in Johnny Rods. But Rods could go, man. He could work. He was a tough guy. He had gone to California to get his big break as a chic gimmick, is Java Rook in the 70s. And that didn't last very well. He won the big annual Battle Royal in Los Angeles for Mike LaBelle and then wanted to go home. So I hear. But he was a tough guy.
Let's talk about, I mean, he's not in the match here, but since we're talking about Hall of Fame, I think a lot of people, when they think of Hall of Fame, they don't necessarily think of Johnny Rods, but he definitely influenced a lot of people and trained a lot of great professional wrestlers and has been a star for the company in many other ways. And one of those guys who a lot of people don't get, and you have a unique perspective on this, is James Dudley and the inclusion of him in the WWE Hall of Fame. You and I've talked about this off air, but I don't think you've ever went in great detail here on the show. Why is James Dudley in the Hall of Fame, and why are you a proponent of that?
James Dudley is in the Hall of Fame because James Dudley was Vince McMahon Sr.'s right-hand man. James Dudley was one of the top players in the Negro League back in the day for baseball. He traveled the world and was a hell of an athlete, but he also helped Vince Sr. run the shows in Washington, D.C. He made sure that nobody messed with Vince Sr. He managed Bobo Brazil and was able to help get the black audience to accept wrestling and help them, you know, let them know that, hey, come on, this is for you too. He was very instrumental in that, but he was very good to Vince McMahon Sr., obviously Vincent Kennedy McMahon, but he was that guy. He was influential. If it wasn't for James Dudley bridging that gap in a lot of places like Baltimore and Washington, D.C., then the WWF may not have succeeded the way that it did to become what it is today. So he was very instrumental in that. He got buildings, he ran buildings, and he was the man. They call him Bad Leroy Brown. That's a shoot, man. You didn't fuck with James Dudley. You did not fuck with James Dudley. And James Dudley was the only guy. James could come in Baltimore, sit in Vince's office all day, eat all Vince's food, and talk to Vince. And Vince would sit in there and chat with him. But when Vince would have meetings with other people, he never ask James to leave. James would just sit there and listen to everything. And then the guys would leave and James would offer a little bit of advice to Vince, whether he wanted it, solicited it or not. It made James feel a part. And that was the respect that Vince had for James Dudley. Wonderful, wonderful human being. So yeah, I believe he should be in there. And to Johnny Rods, for the guys, the big names that are in the Hall of Fame, well, I guarantee you along the way, Johnny Rods helped make those son of a bitches and got them, made them look good so that they could have that main event Hall of Fame career.
Nice little pinning combination there.
Big Jim Nelson. Maybe, hey, you think we'll see Big Jim Nelson this weekend at WrestleCade? Boris Zukov?
I don't.
He's like, he's a North Kakalaki boy, and again, one of the nicest guys in the whole wide world. that got a great break because when he shaved his head, he looked like a Russian, and he's got a deep voice. So
Is he at WrestleCade?
I don't know if he is or not. I just, I've seen him there before, so you never know.
Who's your favorite Russian performer?
Ivan Koloff. Bar
see.
none. The best.
I think a lot of younger people would say Nikita Koloff.
That's because they never saw Ivan in his prime. Ivan Koloff could go into any territory, anywhere in the world, and get over in 3 weeks, and have the business, have business up, selling out, and have people coming over the railing wanting to kill him. He was excellent. Nikolai was good, and Nikolai, I'd say Nikolai did that in the Mid-South, but it was during the time of the Russian planes and everything. So
He was a heel.
We're going to see an interesting situation here towards the end. Mr. Fuji is obviously with Demolition, but we're going to see something interesting happen towards the end of the match here. It really is incredible that you guys liked this idea of 10 tag teams, because as you said, it's really hard to shoot and see what's going on because you just got this mass of humanity, but it forced you to use a different type of camera shot, which I actually kind of dig here. I like this look, but it is sort of nonsensical that there's no saves when there's legitimately 20 dudes standing around.
but it also makes it a lot easier to watch because when you have no saves, I'm
not arguing that at all, but it does make it challenging to run the ropes when you got motherfuckers just lining up the ropes.
Shit. Yeah. And it's just, who the hell do you tag? And right there in the corner, and Arn's getting out of the way on one side, Marty's coming in. It's just a hodgepodge. And it came from the original Teams of Five Strive to Survive concept of, we got to have five, we got to have 5 teams, got to have 5 guys on each side, no, you don't gotta, you can change shit. You can make things different, but we lived by the self-imposed rules. They got to have 5.
Right. Can I just tell you that, I love that we do this.
You can. You know what I love about this match right here is I love watching Dave Hebner just get blown up. Not Earl, just be blown up beyond belief, running him all over the place in the ring. Timmy White's just meandering outside.
Like, where else though, before the WWE network, I feel so fortunate that exists. I mean, how else would we, as a group, not just me and you, but there are hundreds of thousands of our listeners who are watching along with us here. Where else there's no other, like, this doesn't exist in other forms of entertainment, really.
So basically what you're saying is that, like, more people are watching this today with us during our commentary than probably watched it that day.
I didn't think about that, but yeah. But it is, that's
for Brother Love and the Mortgage Guy to bullshit through.
Yeah. I didn't think about that, but you're exactly right. But it is interesting to me though, that, and it really dawned on me when you said it was just a concept with these self-imposed rules. And, when they got that unique sort of over the shoulder shot, by the way, when you saw the way he took the bump, you didn't have to guess. Which Bulldog is that?
That's Dynamite, isn't it?
I love that you're not sure.
No, it's Davey.
At this point, Dynamite can't really move like that, right? He's hurting.
He is hurting, but he was still trying to go. He was still trying to prove to everybody that there was nothing wrong with him.
Oh, I see. Well, anyway, I was just saying, this is something you guys just sort of threw together and you just tried. And you know, hey, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. And now you can look back and say, this was kind of a bad idea, but it was such a big event at the time. You guys only had 4 pay-per-views. It's not like, you know, but there's 15 pay-per-views a year like now, or 20 or whatever it is. There's only 4. And at this point, yeah, I mean, there's only 4. This is a major event on one of the historical biggest nights of the year for professional wrestling. And you just tried something, and now we're watching it together with hundreds of thousands of people. It's just really, really fun to me, because without the WWE network, this wouldn't be possible. They're not doing this for like old Alabama Auburn games. They're not doing this for old Cowboy Redskin games.
You can go back and relive history, and it's absolutely amazing. And it's amazing to me to sit there and go, you know, you watch this match. This is not a bad match.
No,
they're doing some good shit. It's just too many people, too fucking long, and no story. Your story is Powers of Pain and Demolition, and then Tully and Arn, and maybe the Hearts, but and the Rockers. But other than that, there's no story.
Dynamite up to the second rope, knee halfway across the ring.
Yeah, he's still trying to let everybody know he can still go and he can still do certain things. But I think he was hurting, and he was definitely miserable during this time without his teeth, and not a good time for Dynamite Kid. That clothesline will fucking take you down from Barbarian.
The Conquistador here, just based on the way Barb and Dynamite are working with him, it makes me think he's a little loopy here. Either that or he is like blown up sky high. I don't know.
It looks like he probably got whacked in the head there at some point.
Yeah, he just does. He's not with it. And Tully Blanchard in here and by the way, let me just tell you, I did not appreciate Tully Blanchard when I was younger, but now that I, watch wrestling a little differently, I really enjoy the little stuff that he does, like immediately getting in, cowering over in the corner to pretend to counsel with Bobby Heenan and hiding behind the ref, sneaking in a shot and then immediately tagging out. Like, that's good chicken shit heel stuff. I love it.
Well, Tully understood that he wasn't 10 feet tall, and Tully understood how to work like a smaller heel and was able to get heat that way. Tully didn't want you to go out there and say he was a tough guy and all this other crap. He was going to say he was a smarter guy and he was going to beat you any way that he could. That was the difference. And that was the way that made Tully exactly what you just said. Man, he would cower and he would sucker him in and he would gain the advantage. He was just that fucking good. I didn't like Tully either, but that's because I had to work with him. But I grew to respect him and his work. There's nothing bad you can say about Tully's work in the ring.
Tommy Young.
What are you doing?
I went, Tommy Young. I just was having a Barbarian moment.
He told the real story at StarCast, by the way. And it was exactly what we sort of joked about.
Yeah. Well,
it's amazing to me that that's a real thing.
Why does that amaze you? It's a barbarian. He's from Barbaria.
I don't know. It just does.
From the Isle of Barbaria comes the barbarian.
Aren't you and I going to Europa?
Yes.
And we're going to see, maybe the European champion.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And that we'll go swimming in the Liverpool.
I don't know that even sounds like something I'd want to do.
Yes. No, you got to go swimming in the Liverpool in England.
It is going to be weird for a few days trying to remember not to call it Birmingham since I'm from Alabama.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Hey everybody.
I like Birmingham. You know what's funny? As we're watching Arn Anderson and put on a clinic here with Marty Jannetty, I've just recently realized I'm the Forrest Gump of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Like I have no reason to be involved in wrestling. I'm not really, but I've got these podcasts and there's no reason that I should have been able to do all of the fun stuff I've been able to do the last few years. I'm just in the right place at the right time from Greenbow, Alabama. I found my Jenny and the whole deal. Like, who would have thought? I mean, I'm not going running. We know that.
Run, Forrest, run.
It's like podcast, Conrad, podcast. I just started podcasting.
Yeah. Well, look at you now.
And instead of, Dr. Pepper, it's Miller Lite.
Well,
upgrade.
It's less filling.
Tastes great.
Less filling.
So, Bret Hart, Tully Blanchard, and Hebner counted to 38 there. And Bret nope. Not Bret gets the pin. Tully gets the pin. How about that?
Bret's shoulders were down, man. Bret got screwed again. Bret, you screwed Bret. That's right.
Oh my gosh. Dynamite comes in and just...
Series is not a good pay-per-view for Bret Hart. What?
I don't know. You're just a dick.
It's just a double pin there. What? He didn't get his shoulders up.
How about Dynamite came in and just picked Tully up and just coldly put him in a tombstone pile driver, just randomly. It felt like he was Stewart from Mad TV. Look what I can do. Look what I can do.
There's no reason to, but I'll do it anyway.
Look what I can do.
See, now we get our 1-4 way. See, if you had this all the time, you wouldn't be able to control this match, but now you got a melee going on. I think they're going to have to just throw this thing out. Just throw these guys out of there. Eliminate all of them. If you can't control them, these motherfuckers here.
I do want to mention that there's a lot of news and notes about the company at this time. Let's run through some of them. This is all from the Torch. The British Bulldogs are now done in the WWF, as are Don Muraco and the Junkyard Dog. The Bulldogs' babyface position will be taken by the Sheep Herders. Well, now they are called the Bushwhackers and will be babyfaces. The Bulldogs are now in Calgary Stampede and will soon tour Japan for the first time in many years. Muraco will work as a heel in Calgary and JYD will work as a face. So was there like all of these guys are going to Calgary? Was this a decision as a group?
It may have been on their end. I think that it was a place to go and it was someplace that they could go and get work immediately. They'd all been there before, so they were all names that had worked in Calgary before. JYD and Muraco, neither one of those guys stayed there very long. I think Don was just there long enough to get to Hawaii.
Pat Patterson there, just briefly made a cameo.
Arape, say, get in the back of you two, Arape, Chase.
So why Calgary?
Because of Stu Hart, because it was probably one of the last bastions of territories to go to.
What was the relationship like with Vince and Stu at this point?
Great. They always had a good relationship, and Vince was always happy to help Stu out in any way that he could. So it wasn't a adversarial one at all.